I am so glad you convinced me that the family car should be the Defender 110. It is so beautiful inside. It's so comfortable and it just feels indestructible.
Yes, it really is. I've been waiting a long time for the new model to come out. The Defender 110, I'm telling you, it's my favorite car of all times. It's my third one. You know, I have stories of going off road. The guy managed the group. He was like, "What are you doing in this beautiful car?" I'm like, "I'm going off road." He's like, "Are you sure? Because you can use one of ours." And then they look like Mad Max cars. I'm like, no, we're going to do this. And he was shocked.
Wow. Well, it's great because the Defender has been reimagined for 21st century adventure, and its unparalleled off-road ability as well as its robust interior are invaluable whether you're headed towards uncharted territory or just a weekend of exploration. The Defender 110 tackles challenging surroundings with absolute confidence. The SUV conveys strength outside and in, featuring peerless technology like an intuitive driver display and an award-winning infotainment system. That's my favorite part, to keep you connected no matter where the journey takes you. Adventure is unique to everyone, and so is the Defender. Choose from the two-door Defender 90, the four-door Defender 110, or the larger Defender 130 with the ability to seat up to 8 passengers. You'll find uncompromising performance in all three. So pack up and go even further with the Defender 110. Learn more at LandRoverUSA.com/Defender.
These days, we're all investors, trying to be smart with our money despite our worst impulses. But at iShares, we believe that deep down inside of every investor is a better investor. One that's just waiting to be let out. Explore iShares ETFs and insights and let your best investor out. Visit iShares.com for more information.
This isn't your average business podcast, and he's not your average host. This is
I Will Make You a Millionaire, another episode helping someone reach their goal of making millions. Jen, what's been happening? I'm going to take a look at your notes.
Everything's been good. I've missed talking to you. I've done a lot, and yeah, a lot of crazy things. One of the things that I started off doing last time we talked, remember I was mentioning about how billboards are so expensive, but humans should wear your stuff. So I built a website overnight called BeMyBillboard.com, where basically people sign up for free and they get mailed different merch, t-shirts, tote bags, hats with my logos, other companies' logos on it, and they're human billboards. So
That's excellent. I'm going to take a look at it right now. I mean, this is a real business.
Yeah, because here's how I planned, and I didn't monetize it yet, but businesses will pay me, of course, to reach my audience and send their stuff out to them. But I built it in like 2 hours on a Saturday. I had over like 100 people sign up, and they fill out a form of what kind of stuff they want, what sizes they are, their address, and then I'm going to mail them packages. I printed all this stuff with my logos on it. So I printed this shirt for Odd Jobs. It says Odd Jobs for Odd People. And I printed like all these different things for my projects, and I'm going to mail out to people, and it's going to cost me a couple $100. And now I have 100-something people who are going to walk around their cities with my logos on it.
Okay, so first thing is, Jay, can we sign up and send like a t-shirt so we
I'm sending you both care packages of everything.
No, but I want to sign up the James Altucher Show podcast so people could be the billboard for it. And we have t-shirts.
Oh, cool.
So Jay, can we sign up for this and have people be human billboards for us?
Sure.
And then anybody listening to this, BeMyBillboard.com. But now I'm going to ask some due diligence questions. How do you know that they're really wearing the shirt and really marketing the brand?
Well, this is the thing that you really can't ever prove, but I'm going to send them a mailer inside of the mailing thing that says like, hey, as a thank you, because this is free for you, can you do one of these 5 things? And it'll be post on social media. It'll be, can you wear it to an event? Can you do these things and send us a picture? And the people who do those things and tag us or send us the picture, I'll make them super billboards, and I'll have them ranked higher in my list, and therefore I can send them more things or know that they're people who are actively doing.
Oh yeah, the people who wear my merch, I should be able to rank them higher. Like, oh, I like this guy's job. I don't, I'll give him 5 stars, give him 4 stars, 3 stars. And so then those people have reviews like on Amazon.
So I could build out that site so it's like people make their profiles. That could be like another way of actually approaching that I didn't think of.
Jen, I totally think you should do this because I'll sign up
Yeah.
both as a billboard and I want to sign up my podcast. And now then the question is, when someone's a super pro, sometimes they don't want just merch. Maybe they want to get paid a little bit. Or maybe this is a way, could be an exchange where even like TikTok influencers or kind of mini social media influencers can get involved.
I didn't even think about that, but you're so right. That way individuals can be like, hey, here's proof of what I did, how I wore it. Here's all my metrics from social media. And then brands can approach them and say, hey, we like you. You know, I didn't even think of doing it that way, but I like it.
Yeah, like, so I want to see the brands that I could be a billboard for, but I also want to see the human billboards and see if I can get them interested in my brand and so they can do it and then, I can see their reviews so I can know, oh yeah, this podcast says he really drove traffic or this newsletter got subscribers when they use this one guy. And then, there could be other metrics, but this seems great. You're gonna get people on both sides. You're gonna get people who want merch and maybe pay. I think this eventually evolves into paying. Like you're the exchange, so people can get paid, and you get a cut in the middle. Like whether it's 3%, not so much that people want to go someplace else and make a deal without you because you're the important thing of being the intermediary of a financial transaction is that you make sure it's secure and people trust you and so on.
It's almost like a Fiverr or an Upwork for billboards, for human billboards. And I
and
don't know, I couldn't
Uber
stop
for
thinking
human
about
billboards.
this idea. Yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about the idea. So I just built the website. I built it in 2 hours using Wix.com. And I was like, you know what? This is just something I want to do. So I just did it.
So, okay. So Jay, we got to sign up as a brand because we have t-shirts we could send to people.
Yes.
And we even have masks we could send to people. So you should be able to list all the things that, okay. I see. So you say promo items available, t-shirts, hats, pens, totes. So you could list those. I would like to see photos of those. Like I'd like to be able to click on the first years of marriage, see the description, so the first brand here is the first years of marriage. So I want to click on it, see a description of it. You have a link to the newsletter and then promo items available. I want to see photos of those. So then I could say, yeah, this would be cool. I'm going to be a human billboard for this. I'll wear this, I'll wear something every day. I'll do some social media tweet every day of me wearing it. I don't have to talk about it, but I could just as like a tweet of me wearing something in a situation. And then it could go, and then there could be reviews for the human billboards or rankings or whatever, right? And they could describe themselves. And, it's different from like a TaskRabbit where they do the task. So the only question is how do you know they're doing something? But social media proof is good. And like if people like their social media where they're wearing your stuff, that's just as good as them wearing it at 100 people. Like if I wear a shirt, no one sees it because I never leave my house. But if I wear a shirt and I put it on social media and it's got 100 likes, that's worth it. At least for free. And then you scale up to see, it's almost like a reverse auction. What are they willing to do to get paid? Like you could say, I have a budget, but you have to tell me what you're going to do and for how much. And so it's almost like a reverse auction where they sort of reverse bid to be a billboard for you for pay.
Wow. These are ideas I didn't even think of. I just built this and was like, I'm not quite sure what it's going to be, but I really like this a lot.
And you don't actually have to do the financial transaction. You can just let people Venmo each other and let Venmo deal with that. And then the business model then becomes more of, well, actually maybe the brands. You charge the brands $10 a month if they want to have access to the human billboards.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
So like this, obviously you could do the website you've made so far, which is BeMyBillboard.com for people listening. I encourage people to put their podcasts or newsletters or whatever on there just to try it. Cause right now it's free and it's, you just have to send a couple of shirts to people and you could see, you might even just want to see one good human billboard wear a shirt and see if you have any results from it. And then you could scale up from there, as a way of testing it. But so first task is, Jay, we got to sign up all our stuff, both as being a human billboard, Jay and I both, and the James Altucher Show podcast as being a brand. Second, is it hard. Like you could, it's one thing to make this easy 1-page website or 2-page website. It's another thing to make it a little bit more. We're not going to do transactions. I'm taking that out. Let's just have people Venmo each other. But can we have a section where the human billboards describe themselves and there's reviews?
Yeah.
Is that a little
Make
harder?
profiles. I have to look into it to see if I can do it on Wix or WordPress, but no, I don't think so because you can make a profile and then people would have to log in to see everyone's profile. So I have to play around with it, but I don't think so. I really think I could probably do it without any type of coding or anything like that.
Yeah, and I think first off, there's definitely ways to do it with either WordPress or Wix. Second off, there are many WordPress experts, and you could find one on Fiverr.com who will do what you need for like $10. So we're not talking about any advanced thing like accepting credit cards or stuff like that. You want basically now a section for the human billboards, a way for people to search it, a way for people to connect with each other. So I could either throw a project out there and see who wants to do it, or I could contact specific human billboards or brands. So there has to be a way of messaging the profiles on each side of the equation. And then maybe a final thing is reviews. And then you could give and some testimonials like this person did this person did this. So you could see how people have used this in practice and what kind of success they've had.
I love it. I think it's awesome. I just couldn't stop thinking about this idea because I know when I'm out and I see people wearing a shirt with the brand's logo, it captures my attention. I think about it for 5 seconds. And if the shirts are weird enough, the logos are weird enough, you're going to remember it.
Well, merch, as it's called, is the main way bands make money these days is through the sale of merchandise. Like they don't really make money putting songs on Shopify and everybody listens to music on YouTube or some semi-free service. So they don't make that much money on the music anymore. And they don't really make that much money from tour tickets because it's expensive, unless you're like the Rolling Stones, it's expensive to tour. But the main way bands make money is merchandise. So this will encourage either podcasters or newsletter writers or other brands. There's plenty of other brands out there, lots of startup businesses. So encourage them to work on their merch game. And the human billboard is retail space that is underutilized. So, or, advertising space that's underutilized. So I would flesh this out. Like this is like version, 0.9. I would get to version 2.0.
I'm on it. I'm excited about it. I didn't even think of these things. So thank you. That's so cool. I mean, I couldn't believe I got the domain name Be My Billboard. I got some really cool domain names I'm going to tell you about this week. And that was one of them that was available.
Oh, that's great. I like this. Now hiring youareodd.com.
Okay, so I bought the domain name youareodd.com and I linked that to my Odd Jobs newsletter. And then I made these shirts that says Odd Jobs for Odd People and the back says now hiring youareodd.com.
Yeah.
Because youareodd.com I think is such a catchy domain name.
But you know what? It looks like I think you're right. It looks like youareodd.com. So it almost makes it look like odd.com is the URL you have, which would be amazing. But I wonder how you can make it look a little bit more like you are odd is one word.
Ooh, I didn't even, okay.
Maybe
Gotcha.
a designer maybe is needed, but maybe you smush the letters a little closer together, but put them a little bit off skew. So like the ARE is like a few millimeters lower than YOU, and ODD is a few millimeters lower than ARE, and then the .com is a few millimeters lower. So it still looks like one big word, but it's delineated a little bit.
No, that makes sense. I'm obsessed with the domain name because I think it makes people curious. Like if you saw that domain name, you would be like, am I odd? And you might go there. And then when you go there, it's the Odd Jobs newsletter. So that's another thing I worked on was making that a whole separate newsletter. I've been publishing that newsletter every single day for the past month since we've spoken. So 5 times a week. And I went from 0 subscribers to close to 200 subscribers doing very little marketing except people spreading it and sharing it. That one I think has a lot of potential because as I've been doing it every single day, it's evolved to become something that's not just odd or unique or ugly jobs, but it's also empowering people to start businesses on their own, teaching them how. It's become something that is, I think, I don't know, it's become something bigger than what I thought it was going to be. Not just like, here's the odd job of the day.
I think you're right. And I think ultimately there could be, job postings and things like that. But I would start thinking now. So what's been your, other than word of mouth, what's been the main way you've gone from 0 to 200? And how long has this been?
So last time we spoke was, I think toward the beginning of July we spoke. So right after we spoke, I made it its own newsletter, had 0 subscribers. I did the 5 day a week frequency, never missed a day. I've shared a lot of it on LinkedIn. I've posted some of the articles I wrote in the newsletter on LinkedIn or Medium or other places. I've also done some social media posts where I promoted it. I did another giveaway to promote it. I did my own podcast episode to promote it. I booked myself on other people's podcasts to promote it coming up. So I've done some, but I wanted to see how this could spread without a ton of promotion because it is sort of viral, and I've gotten a lot of people who share it. The other cool thing I've seen in the past couple of weeks are people who start doing some of these odd jobs and have messaged me to be like, hey, I ended up doing that job and I'm making some money from it. So that's been really cool to see as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. You should put those testimonials on the site for the newsletter.
Yeah.
And so now the other thing I would suggest is you should figure out how to start marketing the newsletter. So other than just the good word of mouth, which I think is ultimately the best way, but I wonder if you can play with very tiny budgets and do some basic influencer marketing. So reach out to some Instagram accounts where it looks like they do odd sort of jobs and have them recommend the newsletter. And maybe they need, it's funny, TikTok influencers, because I've done a little bit of marketing on TikTok, it is super cheap. Like it's almost no money at all, and you can get. And the more niche you go, the better it is because they have fewer followers. But but they have very loyal followers on TikTok, and I think there's some good influencer marketing opportunities there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't do any of that yet, so that could be something that's really cool. Even I've been looking up odd jobs or weird job podcasts to book myself on those places to promote it. Maybe even Google ads, Facebook ads. It's definitely something that could work better in ads than the first year of marriage one did.
Yeah, I think both could work, but I think the odd jobs one, you're right. It's hard to say. When I think about both, they obviously have both an audience and market in the tens of millions. But I think right now, what's interesting about odd jobs is people don't want to go back to work in an office. They want an odd job. They want to continue the economic lockdown lifestyle, but make more money.
Well, the number one statistic that I've been running with is 85% of people are miserable at their jobs. So I've been using that again and again and again to promote this because that's a huge amount of people who are miserable at their jobs.
Yeah, no, and not only that, more than 50% of people don't want to go back to non-remote work. Despite all the people who argued with me when I wrote this initially. So with Be My Billboard, you could go from 0.9 to 2.0 without spending hardly any money. And I know in general, I've been trying to do all these without spending any money at all, but there are some skill sets needed to just, it's just a WordPress add-on or theme or whatever that would make the whole thing. So you could probably do it on your own, but it might be worthwhile getting someone in India to do it for like $100 or $50 or whatever. There's definitely a set of features there where it goes from nice website to legit business, and you could see if the business works. And Jay, let's definitely sign up. And by the way, the business itself should be a client of the business. So I'm a Human Billboard should be a T-shirt. I'll sign up to wear that. And I'm a humanbillboard.com or bemybillboard.com, whatever. So there's definitely a set of like at least 10 features I could think of that turns this into a little business, just so we could see. The Odd Jobs newsletter, I think that one, we were just talking to a newsletter guy the other day who talks about trends and things like that, but that's related to Odd Jobs. And he has 65,000 subscribers gained over the past year. And of course, he's making a living at it. Once you have that many subscribers, there's many opportunities for higher end products and so on. So I'm I think that's and I asked, how did you get so many subscribers? And part of it was SEO, like Google Ads, and some influencer marketing.
Yeah, I feel like with both newsletters, because I grew the first year of marriage to around 600, I feel like with both newsletters, I'm at a point where I'm sort of stalling because I'm doing my usual techniques and tactics, and now I need to do something else because I'm getting like, new followers here and there, but it's not reaching the thousands. It's not going as fast as perhaps it should at that point.
No, it's okay. Everything takes time. So what happens is it's like who's that girl who was doing the makeup videos and then she totally blew up and now has her own makeup line. What's her name?
Yeah, something. Was it Michelle? It was
Oh,
like
yeah, Michelle.
Ipsy's the company, but she is Michelle Fan or
Yeah, I think
something
it's
like
something like
that.
that. She was on her like 80th video after months and months of doing it, every day or a couple times a week. And she did a makeup video of how does Lady Gaga do her makeup. And that was the one that blew up and she had millions of subscribers after that. So it just takes that one that reaches the front page of Reddit. Like everybody loves it so much. Like maybe when you think of writing the next couple, think of would somebody is this the sort of thing people will share on Reddit and vote up? And, you know, did I put the work in it that shows people will discuss this and people will vote it up and people will appreciate it? Like I used to write these articles that, ultimately I started a newsletter and I wrote these articles and they would get posted on Hacker News, which is kind of like Reddit, but for software. Now I have an entrepreneurship. Now I had nothing to say about software at all, but for some reason, because I was writing for TechCrunch, these would get posted on Hacker News and they would always get voted up to number one to the point where a lot of people, which I seem to engender people arguing all the time about my content, but people would argue this doesn't belong on Hacker News. And so eventually all of my articles, no matter what domain they came from, were banned from Hacker News because all of them were getting to number one trivially. So you have to build to that point. And then you'll get, 600 is great. That means you have a viable newsletter that people are interested in. So it's not a big leap to go from 600 to 6,000 and then from 6,000 to 60,000. Same thing with the Odd Jobs one. It might mean, let me take a look at the Odd Jobs newsletter.
This week is Olympics week, so I've been doing some all of the newsletters this week are Olympic themed.
Oh, that's great. What are some odd jobs about the Olympics?
So first of all, is being an Olympian an odd job? It turns out I didn't know that they didn't get paid to go to the Olympics. So I broke all of that down, that they don't get paid. How do they make their money? I did Olympian side hustles. So some of the odd jobs Olympians also have to do to make money. I also did one today called Odd Jobs that you can do to make money off the Olympics. So how to profit from the Olympics. And I basically created a couple business ideas that people can steal. One of them is to do Olympic tours where you set up a company that does tours of old Olympic stadiums and villages and things like that. So I'm just having fun making it Olympic themed. And some of these this week blew up because people are obviously talking about the Olympics, care about the Olympics, and some of them got a lot of traction.
It's interesting, the tour guide one. It'd be interesting to talk to people who maybe someone is a tour guide for the Olympics and here's how much money they make every day doing tours of the Olympics. I would think of, not in every one maybe, but find someone who does one of these things and and then interview them, do a little mini interview for the newsletter.
Yeah, tomorrow's is about people who have odd jobs at the Olympics. So the person who cleans up the sweat off the courts, there's a lifeguard who's hired to be at the Olympics, even though no one really needs their lives saved. There's a scuba diver who's hired at the Olympics to go scuba dive to set up the cameras. So I took quotes from other articles and linked to them about those people being interviewed and their salaries and things like that.
Yeah, that's great. If you get the information from other places, all the better.
Yeah.
I wonder if somebody goes to the city, maybe they're not even from there, and they start a tour business for the Olympics. Yeah. And then it's just a job they do for 3 weeks or however long the Olympics is. And I wonder how much money they make.
Yeah, I feel like if this was not a pandemic year, that's such an awesome idea. They can put it up on Airbnb experiences. They can list it on local sites and you could charge whatever you want. If people are paying to go to the Olympics, they're going to shell out money for all these experiences.
I mean, tour guide's such an interesting thing because my daughter she is a donut tour guide in New York City. So she gives tours, and people sign up for these tours. She gives tours where they just go to all the famous donut places in New York City. And occasionally she sees celebrities at these donut places. And there's a history behind, like, this place makes their own donuts. This place is the oldest donut place in New York. This place is the smallest donut place. This place only has tiny donuts. This place has giant donuts. And people go on these tours every single day, and she makes money. Not only does she make salary, but she makes good tips. I gave her good cognitive biases for increasing her tips, and they work. She went from 0 tips to now getting like, $40, $50 per couple tips. So
Wait, what's one thing you told her?
Well, first off, I told her in the very beginning that she's to ask for a tip, that if you don't ask, they're not going to know that they should tip for this. And then I told her, using anchor bias, say, it doesn't have to be like $1,000, and, laugh a little bit at that, but now they're anchored at like $1,000. So they're not going to give $3, and stuff like that works.
Yeah, I actually did a whole newsletter on odd jobs you could have if you like food. And one of them was being the tour guide in all of these different cities for food. I tried out to be a pizza tour guide for New York City when I first moved here. I did not get hired, but that was like my dream job, was to just take people around and feed them pizza. Maybe it's a later in life kind of career.
And there's a lot of food Instagrammers that get paid by brands.
Yep. That's what I'm finding with this newsletter is there's never a shortage of topics. Even doing it 5 days a week, I always have something to write about. It's very, very easy. And then every Friday is my job board Friday, where I list available odd jobs that are that people can apply to.
I was talking to you about this, but I spoke with a friend of mine whose his dad told him a very good quote a long time ago, which is that the uglier the business, the easier it is to make millions from it. And I think that doesn't count, if you're the top of the food chain in Silicon Valley, but everything else. And so he picks up, sorry, let me just throw this away. He picks up the garbage of companies and strips out the steel. It's called slag. And then steals, like, slag is a commodity, and he just sells it on the open market. Makes millions of dollars.
I think that's sort of interesting, is because people think you need to have this like glamorous rock star kind of job, but sometimes it is those ugly businesses that really, really make a lot of money. I love what you said the other day about the unexpected. That quote, I can't stop thinking about that. Like, the more you do something unexpected, the more you're going to stand out, the more you're going to be famous, the more you're going to be successful. And that's what these odd jobs are. It's the unexpected type of careers.
Yeah, and you never know which one. First off, there's 2 things. One is people think, oh, these odd jobs only make like walking people's dogs only makes like $5 an hour ultimately. So there are jobs like that don't make a lot of money, but some of these odd jobs you can build into businesses that make millions. We've seen many examples of that. Like, you could, after doing a donut tour, I could encourage my daughter to set up various other food tours where she hires the tour guides, but designs the tour and markets it and signs people up and so on. So, like, who knows? Or this slag business, how did this guy get into it? Maybe he started with one company, he was picking up their recyclables, and then realized he could sell some of them, and boom, it happens. So you just never know which one's going to be the one that could blow up to be a $1 million business, including the newsletter about them.
You just gave me an idea to almost sometimes do a rating of like passive to hustle. So like, you could make 6 figures with this business if you are passive, if you want to do it from your couch, but you can make 6 figures from this business if you want to hustle. So almost having like a scale that's like, okay, how to be rich from this odd job. And then that scale can be showing people like, hey, if you're somebody who hustles, who wants to like do a lot of work, this business is for you. But if you're somebody who wants to sit on the couch and make a lot of money, this business is for you. So almost give it like a rating of some sorts.
Yeah, I like that idea. And then I also, some odd jobs are scalable, some are not. So, for instance, the people who go to the Olympics to do tours of the Olympics, maybe they could work all year round going to other events. Like they go to the Super
Yeah.
Bowl, they go to Lollapalooza, whatever. Maybe they go from event to event doing tours at each one. And then that can scale when if there's a lot of demand, they could set up multiple, tours going on simultaneously in each event. And that could turn into a little business. So, or there could be
Yeah.
events happening simultaneously and they set up all the tours because they become an expert at it.
Yep. I think I have you've given me a lot of good ideas to take it to the next level. I think there's a lot of potential with this newsletter, and I think I have a couple good next steps of what to do with it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love these clothes. Mizzen and Main. That's Mizzen and Main. It really is the most comfortable work clothes. Travel clothes. I had to travel this whole week. I'm traveling for a week and a half, and I just took Mizzen and Main clothes with me. Close out 2023 in style with comfortable, breathable, packable, and machine washable pieces from Mizzen and Main. As you wrap up your year-end goals, enjoy a Mizzen and Main dress shirt that you can wear confidently. I like that they've very, very just nice, solid colors. I don't really like to get all fancy in patterns and everything, although they do have some pattern shirts, but very comfortable clothes, stretchable pants. It's just super comfortable, but they look professional and you can wear them casually or professionally. I like some of their flannel shirts or untuck shirts. I love untuck. I never tuck in. So again, whether you're shopping for a special someone or giving yourself the gift you really want, I just buy myself gifts. Mizzen and Main is the perfect gift for any guy who works, travels, and or cares about looking and feeling great. As you could tell by my many photos across the internet, I care about looking fantastic. I'm practically a model. And let's be honest, every guy loves to look great. So again, shop now at mizzenandmain.com and save 20% when you spend $130 or more using promo code James. That's promo code James at Mizzen and Main, Mizzen and Main.com. You know what I love about fantasy sports is that even though I'm not going to be a great basketball player or a baseball player or a football player or whatever, I feel like I get to participate and make decisions and use my knowledge of these different leagues or these different sports to compete. So it's like I can pick my team or I can pick my favorite players and I could use my knowledge to make predictions and maybe even make money. So with the basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League on Prize Picks. This is a league created specifically for combo projections that include two or more players from different sports or leagues. Want to play alongside some of Prize Picks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz, who's also been a guest on this podcast, and I've been a guest on his? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries for some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Look, Prize Picks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. What? So I love playing it. I love anywhere where I can use analytical ability with my interests to demonstrate some skill and maybe make some money. And I like the game-like aspect. I do wish they had chess as a category on prizepicks.com, but I'll settle for what they've got. Maybe I should make my own fantasy chess league. But in any case, I love Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/James. Use code James for a first deposit match up to $100. That's the easiest $100 you're ever going to make. So that's prizepicks.com/James and use code James. Daily fantasy sports made easy. The future of learning is definitely online. Like, it's such BS that you have to spend $200,000 or take $200,000 in loans and go to some fancy school when it's useless. It doesn't guarantee you a job. Most employers, including me, do not care about degrees or grades or anything like that. We want to care that you love what you're doing, that you know what you're doing, in some cases that you have experience or that you're willing to learn. But people in general love learning and are curious. Like, the key to success is curiosity. And I think masterclass.com is the perfect model for online learning. I'm really happy they're sponsoring this episode. If you're going to give a gift, give the gift of learning. Masterclass makes a meaningful gift this season for you and anyone on your list, because both of you can learn from the best to become your best, from leadership to effective communication to cooking. Let me tell you some of the classes I've taken. I've taken comedy from Steve Martin. I mean, can you believe I can take a class from Steve Martin on comedy, or Judd Apatow, my favorite comedy director? I could take an actual class from him on writing. Wolfgang Puck on cooking. Dan Brown on writing, or Judy Bloom, who's been on this podcast, on writing. By the way, Wolfgang Puck also has been on this podcast. It's such a pleasure. I try to take classes all the time from masterclass.com. And whether you're watching Masterclass on TV or listening in audio mode in the app or on their site, the quality speaks for itself. It's like these Masterclass instructors are your own personal mentors that are going to help you reach the next level. How much would it cost to take one-on-one classes on comedy from Steve Martin, or on chess from Gary Kasparov? You just wouldn't be able to do it. But it would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. With a Masterclass annual membership, it's $10 a month. Memberships start at $120 a year for unlimited access to one-on-one classes with all 180 plus Masterclass instructors. So it's not just $120 for one instructor. You get all 180 plus Masterclass instructors. Boost your confidence and find practical takeaways you can apply to your life and at work. And if you own a business or are a team leader, use Masterclass to empower and create future-ready employees and leaders. That's the real education in today's world. So this holiday season, you can give one annual membership and get one free at masterclass.com/JAS. JAS, of course, stands for the James Altucher Show. So right now you can get two memberships for the price of one at masterclass.com/JAS. Masterclass.com/JAS. Offer terms apply. How's the Twitch stuff doing?
Good. I was doing some Twitch. Jay was my loyalist fan. And it was good. I've been doing a little bit of it. I stopped doing it for a little while, but it was good. It was good because I would do some of the Twitches I did. I walked through my strategies for some of the things I was working on. So it was cool to talk it out. And I liked it. It was good. I need to get back into doing it.
Yeah, Twitch is a hard thing to be consistent with. I
Yeah.
was doing Twitch for a while, and I'm gonna get back to it at some point. Maybe I should do a Twitch stream where, like, recovery from COVID. So I'm playing a game and I need to get back to my pre-COVID score
Yeah.
to know
I
that the
feel like
brain
people would
fog is
watch
over.
that. I can't stop thinking how you called it brain frog. I feel like that could be your Twitch streaming name
Yeah.
as you go and do this.
And so, okay, then we also talked about the marriage card deck.
Yes. So I've been working on the first year of marriage. That newsletter goes out 3 times a week. That one I got to around 600 subscribers. It's been pretty good. Could I do more with it? Yes. I need to continue to take it to the next level. 3 times a week with that one's a little tough. I'm wondering if I should maybe scale back to 1 time a week. It's definitely has grown because of the frequency that I'm doing it 3 times a week.
It's up to you, because you want to. The whole thing is that we're doing experiments. We're
Yeah.
trying different things, and some things will take off, some things won't. And it takes, kind of, as you see, it takes a couple of months to really see, because we don't know there's going to be a tipping point for one of them. And it's
Yeah.
basically a quantity game. I shouldn't say that. It's quantity and quality. So, you will eventually do a newsletter in one of these categories that will hit the top of, Reddit or whatever, and it'll suddenly hit a tipping point and it'll explode, or you'll do the right kind of marketing, and so on. So, but it's a quantity game in that you have to try a lot of different things to see
Yeah.
which one is going to really explode within a 6-month period. And once it explodes, monetizing it is trivial. That's why I don't really concern myself that much with monetizing it. But because you're trying lots of things, though, you want to minimize the layout of money needed to do each thing. Ideally, each thing is free to do. But but that's why, okay, a card game that couples play with each other, that could be a fun idea that's not so expensive to make. And you have a platform, the newsletter and podcast, to start marketing it. And also BeMyBillboard.com, you can start marketing it. All right, so right now there's the marriage newsletter, there's the marriage podcast, there's the Odd Jobs newsletter. But I think the Odd Jobs newsletter could turn into a fully fleshed out site as well that could make money. There's the Be My Billboard site, which could definitely be fleshed out into a business. What other stuff do you have going on?
I'm doing more stuff with Bridesmaid for Hire. I'm going to build out the Maid of Honor template that we talked about. Remember, we talked about selling like a template for the speeches. So I'm going to be working on that, but I've just been making little changes to my website. I've been adding video to almost every landing page, and it's been converting like crazy. So I've made more money than in a while with Bridesmaid for Hire, not even going to weddings, but doing other things. Mainly the Maid of Honor speeches, mainly that course I sell. So I'm also spending time just optimizing that whole process because I don't want to go to weddings.
And how did you increase the amount of money you were making from it?
I simply added videos to my landing pages that I think were pretty engaging, that explained the process a little bit more, had the human factor to it. I redid the website a little bit, but I'm going to completely redesign the website. I did more promotion on social media. So my Instagram has been blowing up because of doing Instagram Reels. So just like little tweaks here and there have brought more money in with some of the services I offer that weren't so popular in the past. I don't want to go to weddings, especially just the way the world is. Who knows what's going to happen with weddings? But I want the business to be functional, and I want to keep building some of these more passive services.
Yeah.
Like the course, like the template, things like that.
And this was a course you had running before.
Yeah, it's the course to teach people how to be a professional bridesmaid, and it sells decently. It could sell better, but I'm going to redo the landing page. I'm going to make all these tweaks to it, but just simple tweaks I've made have made it perform better, like the video, adding more testimonials, clearing up a little bit on the landing page what's inside the course. Simple little things that took me under an hour have brought in more sales than ever before.
This is great. So one of your questions has always been like, when do you stop doing new things and you just focus on the things you have going on? I think you have enough things going on that one of these things is going to make money, particularly as we flesh out the idea and give it more dimensionality. So like the Be My Billboard is a good example where it's like one-dimensional right now, but it could be a 3-dimensional experience for people. And so now we could add depth to some of the things you're doing. Like the Odd Jobs newsletter, people could submit job requests to you, or people could say, I'd like an odd job. And then you could have almost a marketplace of odd jobs. Or, I think the marriage one is still worth pursuing because there's obviously a huge market out there. But just try different angles. Maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there. Like, I think the first years of marriage is a good theme and idea, but maybe people don't want to, maybe it feels like if I get your newsletter, I'm admitting I'm having a problem in my first years of marriage. Because there are a lot of problems, but people think should be idyllic. What? You're only your first marriage, you're a marriage and you're already having a problem. So I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe there's other things you could do in that newsletter or other ideas you could offer, or, maybe there's a section in the newsletter is, one thing a day you should do for your spouse. And here's the thing to do that will surprise you. Yeah, one surprise a day. You should always surprise your spouse in every day of their first years of marriage. And here's the one thing. Like, maybe you should have little sections. It's not like fully fleshed out content, but it's just ideas. So you have to have as many hooks in for why someone only would get the newsletter because they want to see that idea a day. And all the other article content is just gravy for them.
You're right. I feel like I need to watch the balance of how negative it is to how fun. And, I think because I can be someone who's so honest, not negative, but honest about things. I need to make that newsletter have a balance of, the first year of marriage is not all horrible. There are some good things. There are some fun things too. So I need to add that balance. Today's newsletter was short and sweet, and it was just like 5 fun tweets about marriage. And that got a lot of response because I think it was just something funny that people could laugh at and relate to. Another type of newsletter that worked really well for odd jobs and first year of marriage is I did like a 5 books you should read, and it was like weird alternative books, and people loved that.
People love lists. So like if you said 10 ways you, in capital letters, can make money from the Olympics, people click on that. They love, that's why it's the 10 commandments in Judaism. That's why it's the 4 noble truths in Buddhism. It's why it's the 108 yoga sutras in yoga. Listicles have worked for 3,500 years.
Yeah, and even like recommendations, like the book recommendation one, people shared a lot because they were curious about the books, and they weren't obvious books. Like the marriage books I promoted were not marriage books. They were more how to challenge your relationship books, like fun, different books like that. They weren't annoying marriage books. And the odd jobs one, I put Skip the Line in there. I put like all these books in there that aren't preachy, but more actionable. And I think people really liked that too.
You know, going the complete other angle, one of your competitors, and you wrote this when you were researching the competitors, the break free from the affair. So this guy's website is a newsletter on how to deal with infidelity. And he doesn't say how much he charges, but he has articles, he has recent posts, he has posts like, he tells me he loves me and her. Like these are great article titles. It's funny, they always say he, but he's dealing mostly with women. But I wonder how much people pay for this. Like these types of newsletters, people pay a lot of money for.
Which makes me wonder if I'm so limited by having these newsletters on Substack and instead need to build a website because I can't build out pages. Like, do you think both of these need a website at this point where I could have other pages on it?
Yes, but you can use Substack to do that. So Substack's just hosting the newsletter, but you could have any domain name. I'm pretty sure you can do this with Substack. I don't know the specifics how, but I would look into doing that. Or you can have like a WordPress website that just at the newsletter points to Substack.
Yeah. Okay, I could do that.
But definitely there are plenty of Substack newsletters that have their own domain names and you don't know they're using Substack and they have 100,000 subscribers or whatever.
Yeah.
So let's see. Are there any other businesses we've been talking about so far?
The other thing I did this week was last time we talked, I read you my list of things I would do if I was a millionaire. And the moral of that story was I'm making excuses why I can't do them now. So I've been trying to put some of those things in motion. I raised my prices. I said no to more things I didn't want to do. I invested in like going to the gym, like getting not a personal trainer, but doing a expensive type of class I really like. So I went through my list and figured out, okay, what's an excuse and what can I do now, and started putting some of those things in motion. And that was fun. That was a really good activity to sort of prove to me.
What happened? Like when you raised your prices, what happened?
I don't know if it deterred people from working with me or not. I don't care. It allowed me to have boundaries of how I want to spend my time. I think for a while as a solopreneur, I was like desperate to make money, and I'm not in that position anymore. So I think it was a good confidence boost, but also a good way of putting up boundaries. I don't need to give people discounts. I don't need to drop my prices. I need to raise my prices, say no to more things, and focus my attention on things I want to do. I have time. I just waste my time. And I'm starting to see that more and more.
Yeah, it's so interesting that the millionaire exercise. And again, the idea is write a list of 10 or you wrote 20 things you would do if you had $1 million. And it turns out all those things you can do right now. So that's interesting. So, okay. So right now we've got a bunch of new ideas. You have your legacy stuff. What are you enjoying right now most of all?
I really am enjoying, I'm enjoying it all. Like I really I couldn't stop thinking about Be My Billboard. I couldn't stop thinking about that idea. And rather than just thinking about it, I sat down on a Saturday and built it in 2 hours. So I'm liking this whole approach of we're not monetizing anything. We're just starting and growing and seeing. So I sort of like that. I like that thought process. I think it's been really helpful.
It also underlines principle of doing versus thinking. Like you
Yeah.
can't, nobody in the universe has ever thought their way to success. You can't, because thoughts are they don't exist. They're invisible. Who knows what a thought is? But when you do something, like you said, took you 2 hours to make version. I couldn't have told you if you worked 2 hours or 100 hours. Like you built version 0.9 of a launchable business, and it might be a very simple kind of business right now, but you did it in just 2 hours. So who cares? And you got people interested. Like how many people want to be a human billboard right now?
I got over 100 to sign up, and I didn't do very much promotion at all, purposely, because I don't want to I don't want to spend so much money mailing people stuff, but I didn't do a lot of promotion. I easily got 100 people to sign up.
So yeah, and people have merchandise they're willing to give out, like whether, so I would start trying to get other brands now to use this, but build version 2.0 first.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't take so long. Like I watched 2 episodes of The Sopranos last night. That took 2 hours. Instead of watching that, I could have built an entire version 0.9 of a business.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know what I'm realizing too? It's like all these skills I had that I learned by accident keep showing up in my life. Like the fact that I started a blog in 2011, I learned how to use WordPress. Like I learned how to build websites. That is such an important skill that keeps showing up. The fact that I know how to use social media really well keeps showing up. Like all of these micro skills keep coming back into my life and allow me to do these things. If I was so hung up on not knowing how to make a website, I wouldn't put any of these ideas in motion. So I feel like all of this is an experiment to remind me that all of these little skills I've built in the past 10 years can really just come back to help me in many ways.
yeah. And then I would start making like this odd jobs thing. There's 2 directions that I would start making lists. One is what other business ideas are related to the odd jobs concept. So whether it's a job posting site or whether it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a good list. And then another thing is just other ways to get the word out about this newsletter. Because I think this newsletter, I think, like, let me just take a look at this one, odd jobs to make money off the Olympics. So I think this one's great and it's interesting, and certainly these are the ways you list are ways to make money. I would flesh out each one just a tiny bit more. Like, what are the, why do you think this is a good way? So, okay, here's an example of a person, or here's the number of money the amount of money that is spent by tourists in a town in the city that has the Olympics. So then, some percentage of that money goes towards tours, or goes towards food trucks, or goes towards, hookers or whatever. I don't know. And then give some data that's like proof. And then you have testimonials or social proof. If you have, I would use these examples of from influence to kind of beef out each one of these newsletters. Like, let me look at another one. And now that I am signed up for it, so we were just talking to someone. So this is like sell food. This is a great one. A 13-year-old girl recently found a puffy Dorito in her bag and posted it on eBay. Bids went as high as $100,000, and she ultimately took a $15,000 payout from Doritos. Like, that's amazing. So now that one you can't like do on your own, but these are like interesting things. But then I wonder maybe there should be a section actionable items. If you want to make money with selling food, here's some ideas to do. Or we were talking to someone the other day who told us that searches on snail mucin, which I guess is like the sweat of a snail, is searches on that have gone up like 1,000% in the past 2 years, because I guess in K-pop beauty culture, snail mucin is this huge thing for like tightening up skin, or I don't know, something like that. And so it's just this weird trend. But then I wonder if there's somebody actually making money using that trend. So that's like an odd job. And but then I would want to know how to do it. Like, how do you buy snail mucin? And how much can I make and where do I sell it? All sorts of stuff like that. So I don't know, that adds a little bit of work, but I think it would add, you could see, will it add like thousands of subscribers for just a little bit more work?
Right.
And then how are you feeling about the card game, which is the most kind of physical item that you're working on?
Good. I think I want to spend more time getting the right questions, crowdsourcing the questions a little bit more. I made a list of like 200 ideas, but I want to spend a little bit more time really nailing down what the best 100 or 125 questions would be for the cards. So I haven't really done much with it.
Have you asked people in your newsletter for questions?
No, I want to do that. Yeah, I want to create a survey to ask that.
Because you could use your newsletter as almost a mini Kickstarter on this type of thing. So sometimes people say, oh, I don't want to use Kickstarter. I don't need to raise like $30,000 or whatever it is to make a chair. But the thing about Kickstarter is not the money you raise, it's the audience you build that's waiting for your product to be released. So you could use your newsletter not only to seed questions, but it's really a form of marketing to show people, hey, this is coming and I'm making you all aware. Those are going to be your first customers.
Yeah, maybe should I make like a landing page with a video and almost say like, this is coming, submit the questions that you think would be good in the deck and get people to actively do that?
Yeah. Just on everything, be direct. In your marriage newsletter, I would talk about, hey, sign up for BeMyBillboard.com and people will send you free merch, including me. And James Altucher and whoever else. I would just be as direct as possible.
I am excited. I feel like I needed to talk to you. It was a couple of weeks and I was like, okay, I need a James inspiration and I got a lot of work to do.
Now, are there any other questions that you had, or did I answer the ones that you had?
You answered the ones I had. I think I was feeling like some of the ideas, I was like, okay, I'm on autopilot. And I think you gave me awesome ideas to take everything to the next level. And next time we talk, I'm going to have a lot of version 2.0s for you.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm excited for everything still. Like right now, I don't think you should slow anything down. But I do think maybe it's okay to not add more things. Like I think these are enough things that unless something really excites you, these are enough things that, although let me think about something. Let's just think about an idea. So one thing, I never used to believe in subscription boxes, this idea that, like a friend of mine's an ex-Navy SEAL, and he has a business where people who subscribe every month, he sends them, Navy SEAL type stuff. Like, I don't know, Jay, what would be an example of a Navy SEAL like stuff? Like
the knife?
Yeah, like a special knife.
Right.
And whatever. So I never used to really believe in those, but then during the lockdown, I used a subscription business for food. Like I had a business cook all healthy meals, so I didn't have to go shopping or anything like that. And it would deliver them to the door. It was no touch. I wonder if there's like, well, the problem with weddings is there's no subscription business because they just get married once. But I wonder if there's something in there, some other kind of like.
It could be for like a first year of marriage subscription box that like has like a type of book in it or like, like something. It could be something for that first
book,
year.
A sex toy, a list of a bunch of coupons that people contribute for your subscription box, for cruises or whatever. So yeah, there might be something there. It's just something to think about. Even though we don't want to maybe add new businesses that we're working on, it's always good to keep thinking of them because they could be part of, it could be a newsletter idea. It could be an odd job idea. Who knows?
Every time I hang up with you, I have a rush of ideas. And if one of them lingers enough, I just do it. And see what happens. So I'll think about that and I'll do some research.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about the Be My Billboard. Well, we're gonna sign up right away. Everybody listening should either sign up their brand or or just sign up to be a human billboard. I want to be a human billboard for BeMyBillboard.com.
Okay, but I'm gonna send you a pack of everything anyway.
And how's everything going? How's your marriage going?
It depends if we watch The Sopranos or not. But
like in your newsletter, I'm curious. Like, does anything from the newsletter bleed into the marriage?
I think what's happening in the marriage bleeds into the newsletter. So if we had like a week where we were fighting a lot. So I did a bunch of newsletters about fighting, and I did something about like how saying sorry doesn't work. So here's 10 other ideas, hoping he would read it and do one of those ideas, but he didn't. So I feel like a lot of the content of the newsletter is just from real life things that we're experiencing.
You know, when I might have mentioned this last time, so correct me if I did, but when I do stand up a lot, I see these couples, you know, sometimes they're together like 50 years. And I always ask, what's the secret? And, you know, one person once told me that if you win every argument, you're probably not going to be married within a year.
Wow. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that one. Yeah. I think we're arguing more now than ever. And I think that's just the first year of marriage and just the everything I'm writing about in the newsletter. So it's having the newsletter is a great outlet for my marriage. I think it'll end up making it even better that I have this outlet to like write about it all.
Yeah. I think people need to know, like, you know, and this is not really related to business, but arguing in a marriage, it doesn't mean the marriage is bad. It doesn't mean you married the wrong person.
Right.
Everybody argues, particularly if you're living with someone and you're making plans with someone and you have to deal with other people's families and their friends and so on and everything. It's almost a way of like, okay, here's something where there's a weakness in the marriage. Yeah. So if we take a step back and figure out how to patch this weakness, it's just going to make the marriage stronger. And so the arguing are the indicators, hey, this is a weakness you should talk about. If you weren't arguing about it, it's not a weakness of the marriage.
I agree. I think I'm learning a lot, and hopefully people who read the newsletter will learn too. But you're right. Marriage is more complicated than people think it is.
Yeah. We'll close on that. That's a good one.
Yes.
But thanks so much, Jen. I'm always inspired too after talking with you. You've got so many great things going on, and you're really a doer, and that is such an important thing.
Well, I'm loving this, and it's always so awesome to talk to you.
It's your last chance to check everything off your list at NFM. Get savings in every department. Shop in-stock gifts like toys, electronics, appliances, and furniture. NFM gift cards make amazing presents. Save time with drive-thru pickup. Get 30-month financing on qualifying appliance, TV, and audio purchases. And 24-month financing store-wide at NFM. Store closing early Christmas Eve and closed Christmas. Visit NFM for your chance to win a Tesla Model Y. Minimum monthly payments required, 18% APR. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.